name is Ariana. I'm here at Cafe AZ, the hub. I'm going to be teaching you guys today how to make blueberry scones with a lemon glaze. We're going to start off first by zesting our lemons. Now, if you're like someone that doesn't always have the cool culinary gadgets, you might not have a microplane, so I'm going to teach you today how to zest your lemon using a box grater. You can also cut it real fine if you really need to, but ideally a microplane or at least a box grater would be ideal. We want to try and get about 3 tablespoons worth of zest just for our dough, and we're going to need another tablespoon for our icing. Always want to make sure to be really safe when you're grating. It's very easy to cut yourself. I prevent that by wearing my cut glove. Zest your lemon, you want to get as close to the white part as possible. It's called the pith. And then we're going to save our lemons as well after we're done zesting them because we're going to juice them. Alright, so it looks like we have just about 4 tablespoons of zest, which is perfect. I'm going to try and scrape as much of it out of the grater as I can. It's a pretty good amount. So I'm going to take a tablespoon and I'm going to set that aside for the icing for later. And the rest is going to go straight into our dry mixture. So along with our lemon zest, we're going to add in our 5 cups of flour. I prefer all-purpose, but for scones, just about any kind will do. We're going to follow that up with a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, a half a cup of sugar, and then we are going to cut in our butter. I have 8 ounces of butter. I always do mine by weight. It is the most precise way to bake. So in order to cut in the butter, we're just going to take it and we're just going to start to crumble it with our hands. We don't want it too fine. We want it just below the size of a green pea. This will help our scones have a good buttery flavor, as well be a little flaky. In order to maximize the amount of juice I get from each lemon, I like to take it and give it a good roll first. And this will just help you get more juice out without you having to squeeze as hard. In here, I have a nice little strainer. This will help me keep all the meaty bits of the lemon and all the seeds out of my juice. Alright, so now that we've got our lemons all nice and juiced, we're going to use about 4 tablespoons for our flour mixture, and we're going to save the rest to use in our icing. Once you add your lemon juice, you can go ahead, Add in your berries and add in your milk. And now we're just going to do our best to stir it until it becomes an actual dough. Now you don't want it to be too wet, but you also don't want it to be too dry. You want it to just kind of stick together and stay together without it having loose pieces of flour everywhere. So if you find that you need to add a little bit more heavy cream or milk or even water, go ahead and do that. I started off with the 11 ounces, so I think I'm going to add one more to bring it to a grand total of 12, and I think that'll be just perfect. Oh yeah, that's much better. So next, we're going to shape it. So now we're going to take our dough and put it onto our sheet pan. I like to take mine and put it into a giant circle, and then I'll cut it into triangles and let it bake. If you want smaller sizes, you can do a bunch of little circles, or if you wanted to, you can even roll it out and cut it with cookie cutters. You don't want to mash it up too much because you do want the blueberries to stay whole. We're just going to kind of gently shape it. The thicker you have it, the longer it's going to take to bake. I try to get mine to about an inch of thickness. That way they'll only take about 25, maybe 35 minutes. So once you've got your general shape, we're just going to slice it. Alright, so now we're just going to cut it into the desired amount of pieces. I think we'll probably do 8 out of this size. That should be a good healthy size for a scone. Oh yeah, those look delicious. And I'm not pushing too hard. This is just to kind of help individualize each piece. If you really wanted to, you could try and pull it apart if you like the drier edges, but I want mine nice and moist. So I'm going to leave mine right next to each other, and that'll just help it stay very cake-like. We're going to put our scones in the oven at 325 degrees. We're going to start off at 25 minutes and we'll check them from there. It might take 35 depending on the thickness. Let's go with 25. So now we're going to start on our icing. I have 2 cups of confectioner sugar or powdered sugar, as well as the lemon zest that we saved from earlier. I'm going to start off by adding the lemon juice. It's about a tablespoon or 2. And if it's not enough, we'll add a little bit more water. We want it to be kind of thin, but still thick enough to ribbon. So we're just going to add a little bit of water at a time. If you want to measure it, I would maybe do a half a teaspoon at a time. A little bit thinner. If you accidentally make it too thin, just throw in a little more powdered sugar and it'll thicken right back up. So as you can see, it's ribboning pretty well. It's falling back neatly right on top, which means this is a great consistency for our icing. Our scones are fresh, hot, and out of the oven, we're going to go ahead and ice them. If you ice them while they're hot, the icing will have this nice glossy sheen to it by the time that they cool. So So all you're gonna do, and if you're really good at making messes, this is easy, just pour it on and make sure it covers pretty much each scone. There's no rhyme or rhythm at first, just kind of slather it on there and it'll spread as it melts. Make sure to get all the nooks and crannies. Beautiful. Now we're just going to let them cool off for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the icing kind of sets. So since they're already pre-cut, we're just going to go ahead and gently push down on those indentations. That way when you go to pull it away, you get a nice, good, perfectly shaped scone. I'm going to set it nicely on a plate. Sprinkle it with some fresh blueberries. Feel free to add some whipped cream or powdered sugar if you'd like, but I think it's great just as is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments how this recipe works out for you, and make sure you like and subscribe to our channel to see more cool recipes coming your way.